What's going on, guys? Attorney Miguel Cuadra here again, and I'm gonna tell you a little story about why you should take these unpaid internships and how they can help you in your career. Yeah, guys, so I'm attorney Miguel Cuadra. I've been practicing law for just 4 years. I'm here in North Carolina. I do auto accidents, workers' comp, and products liability. Anyone that's in the legal field knows that products liability isn't something you can just jump into. So I'm gonna tell you a story about me taking an unpaid internship when other classmates weren't doing it. They didn't want to take an unpaid internship. They thought they were too important. They had to make money. They were only taking paid internships, and I have a great story as to why sometimes it's just a good idea to take an unpaid internship and how much you can learn from that and how it can change your life. So when I was in law school, my last year of law school, I was looking for internships. People look for internships so you can find out what type of field you actually want to work in. So, I was in law school, so, there's immigration law, there's civil, there's business litigation, there's criminal, there's family law, divorce, custody, all of that. There's tons of realms of the law that you can practice. And you take these internships so you can kind of dip your feet in, different areas, and you can find out what type of law you want to practice. Most of my classmates, a lot of them made good grades or whatever the case may be, but they were only applying to paid internships. And that's all good and well, but I was still, you're still a student, so you're still there to learn. These are learning experiences. I was just trying to learn as much as I could in fields that could make me the most money. So what I did, I took an unpaid internship. So that means I'm not getting paid anything at all. So, living expenses, food, all of that's on you. But the opportunity is what you got to look at, how it's going to benefit you in the future. So I took an unpaid internship with this really well-known firm that does products liability, and they were out of Florida. So, I go out there, I work with them. They had some North Carolina cases. So with products liability, you can the cases are so big, and you can make so much money off them that you can really take a products liability case anywhere in the country. All you would have to do is get an attorney in that state. If you're not licensed in that state, get an attorney in that state to ad hoc you in, to kind of tell the state bar in that state, hey, he's coming in to help me out with this case, on this one case. And as long as you're in good standing, they'll approve you, to come practice in their state for that one case. Back to the story, I did this internship for this firm out of Florida, but they take cases everywhere. So I worked with some real big cases, and I'm a student. I worked on a Remington rifle case. That was out of North Carolina. So these rifles had a recall on them. This rifle, someone dropped it. They were trying to clean it. They dropped it. It fires. It goes across the street into this little girl, shoots her, comes out of her, goes into her friend, and also goes through her and goes into the aunt. So basically the round goes through 3 people. Now, if I get hired on a case like that, I know how to handle it. I know what to do, what to look for, who to reach out to, how to handle the case. And that case settled in the millions and millions of dollars. Of course, we all signed non-disclosure agreements. You can't discuss what it settled for, but it settled for millions of dollars. I was a student at the time, so I didn't make any money off of it. It was just a learning experience. But like I said, now I know how to handle a case like that. If it ever falls in my lap, if someone ever calls me, I don't have to turn it down or go somewhere else. I know how to handle it. I know what to do. So anyway, I interned for this products liability firm. What they do, starting out, you're not doing any hands-on in the court, stuff like that. You're doing research. But even then, it's boring, but you learn a lot. So I learned how to research these products cases. So they teach you what databases to use, what government databases are out there, how to access them. If a product malfunctions, what they taught us to do, what I learned at this internship is you go and you get the product code, and you go into these government databases and you punch in the name of the product, the name of the company that makes it, and they're gonna ask you for a product code. In these databases will tell you if there's a recall on this product, meaning that this product has malfunctioned in the past. For there to be a recall on a product, it has to malfunction a certain amount of time. Once it malfunctions a certain amount of times, that company has to report it to the government. So now the government has knowledge and record of this product malfunctioning, and then they put out a recall. So if you have that product, they kind of warn you, hey, don't use it, take it back to the store, they'll give you a refund or exchange it for something else. So I know how to go into the government databases and look for these recalls. That's something that my counterparts, that my colleagues, that my fellow students at the time, don't know how to do. They want to do this paid internship. So you use these databases and it tells you, what the issue is with this product. If there's a recorded issue with that product, then guess what? You might have a lawsuit. And those lawsuits usually, you're suing these multi-million and billion-dollar companies. So that's what type of work I did, I was taught how to look at a situation and analyze it and see if there's a product problem, if the product is the problem. I was also taught how to look in these databases and find these recalls. So, once, I become a practicing attorney, I go, just dumb luck, whatever you want to call it. I sign a case. I think it was like 40-something days after I passed the bar. I get my first job. My first job's already lined up in Greensboro, North Carolina. My first job's already lined up. So waiting on my bar results. I'm working, but I'm waiting on my results from the bar. Can't do any real legal work. 40-something days after I passed the bar, this lady comes in with a car accident, right? Comes in, I look up, I go online, pull the accident report, see what actually happened. This lady has gone to all the big firms in town. I'm not gonna name any names, but not even just in town, not in all the big firms in Greensboro and the surrounding areas. Everybody's turned her down, and I'm gonna let you know why. So in North Carolina, we got this thing called contributory negligence. In North Carolina, we got this thing called contributory negligence, which means if you're 1% at fault, you recover nothing. We're one of the only states that has this draconian law. So other states have, like if you get in an accident and that person is 60% at fault and you're 40% at fault, you can still sue them. Say you get a $100,000 jury verdict. You get that jury verdict gets reduced by your negligence, by you're 40% at fault. So if you get awarded $100,000, they would discount that 40,000. You only get 60. Okay. In North Carolina, if you're 1% at fault, I mean, like you forgot to put a blinker, you're on. Someone causes an accident, but you forgot to put the turn signal on, your brake lights aren't working, but this other person was drunk, speeding, and caused the accident, but 1%, you did something that makes you 1% at fault, you recover nothing, zero. So this lady's accident report said it could not be determined who was at fault. So here in North Carolina, people stay away from those cases because insurance companies deny those cases. Okay, so she comes in, all the big firms have turned her down, all the big firms turned her down. I look at the report and I think to myself, I think there's something here. It's a medium-sized accident, on an intersection, not on the highway, not at a high rate of speed. The accident didn't happen like a 60, 70 miles per hour. It's probably 20, 30 mile per hour accident. My boss looks at it, he tells me there's nothing to that, let that go, I got plenty of cases you can work on. I tell him, I think there's something to this. Based on what I learned at this unpaid internship, I tell him, I think there's something to this. He's like, I got plenty of cases you can work that's not a case I want you to work on, trash that, let that lady go. I'm like, is it okay if I still take the case on? And he's like, you know what? If you're gonna work on that case, do it during your free time, because I got tons. It was a pretty big firm. This firm had been in business since the 70s, so he had plenty of cases for me to work on. He thought this was a no dollar case. He wanted me to just turn the client down. And I told him I wanted to take the case based on what I learned at this unpaid internship. He tells me to do it on my free time. If it's a case I want to work on as a project, I got to do it during my free time, not while I'm on the clock with him. So, all right, cool, I respect that. I take the case on. I go to the scene of the accident, see what's going on, see if there's any, any freak circumstances, anything, outside of the box that might have happened, something you don't usually see. But no, regular intersection, I think it was 35 miles an hour speed limit, 35 mile an hour speed limit. So I look at it, I was like, there's something else to this. Just listen to these facts. 35 miles an hour, medium damage to both the cars, probably $1,000, maybe $2,000 of damage to the cars. But this lady's missing an eye and has brain damage. Like her whole eye is gone. It exploded in her head and it's gone. And she has brain damage and all types of scarring to her face. So I'm like, how did a 35 mile an hour accident cause this? So this is the knowledge that I learned at this unpaid internship. This is what I learned, I start thinking instead. Everybody that turned her down, including my boss, was looking at this case as an auto accident, So I look at it and I was like, you know what? What if a product in the car caused the accident? A product in the car, what if that caused the accident? Everything in a car, you think if you buy a BMW, everything isn't in the BMW isn't made by BMW. The airbag is made by someone, the seatbelt's made by someone else. Everything in there, the wiring in the car is made by someone else. So, and these are different companies that you can sue if they caused you damages. It's a product. That's why it's product liability. A product causes you the injury and they're liable to you for the injury. So I'm looking at it that way as a product liability standpoint. So I'm like, you know what? And I remember I was like, well, I got access to these databases. I was like, I'm gonna run the VIN. I'm gonna run the VIN through these government databases. So I run the VIN, ding, 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 ding. A recall comes back. The airbag, there's a recall on the airbag. The airbag is faulty. The airbag in this car could be faulty. So then I look at, I research that some more. So come to find out that the airbags in these vehicles are overpressurized, meaning when they go off with so much pressure that they cause compartments in the steering wheel to break, and the force of the steering wheel shoots these broken compartments into the driver or the passenger, whoever's in the car. So I'm like, wow, this is probably what happened, because a 35 mile an hour accident couldn't have caused all these injuries. I look at the recall, I do some more research and find out there's some litigation out there. Other attorneys have sued these same companies, this car manufacturer and this airbag manufacturer, for the same type injury. So guess what I do? I sue them. So I end up suing Honda for $1 billion. My first case right after passing the bar, And all of this I learned from an unpaid internship. It's not always about the money. Sometimes it's about the knowledge. The knowledge will get you further than a few dollars. So after this case that I was able to recognize from this unpaid internship, after I settled this case, I kind of could write my own ticket. It was a case that I got a big portion of the attorney's fees because, as I explained to you before, my own boss who I worked for didn't want me to sign the case. I did all the work on my own free time and all of that. So I ended up writing my own ticket after this case. I quit my job. I went out in business for myself. I took a long vacation, came back, started up my own business. And that was after a year and a half of being an attorney. I was able to go out in business for myself. Now I have 2 offices. I have employees that do most of the grunt work. And I've only been practicing 4 years. So long story short, take advantage of every opportunity out there, even if it's unpaid. All right, I hope you guys enjoyed the story. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the little bell, you get notifications. You get hit up whenever I post another video, all right? Talk to you next time. Hopefully I'll have some good information for you next time, all right? You guys stay safe.